Tonight, our special transmission as Ireland recognizes an independent Palestinian state. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Aisha Ashraf. Today is the 236th day since Israel started bombing Palestinians indiscriminately. In the past 24 hours, at least 46 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza due to continuous Israeli bombardments. 110 have been injured. There has been constant bombardment in western and central Rafah. Eyewitnesses and medical sources say Israeli airstrikes have targeted tents in Tel al-Sultan, killing 7 people. 6 others, including a doctor, have been killed near a hospital in northern Gaza. Israeli tanks have been advancing from 2 main axes into Rafah, reaching as far as the Kuwaiti hospital. The hospital is out of service now. Hamas fighters have been engaging with Israeli forces in northern Gaza. There are reports of an Israeli quadcopter being shot down. A recent ruling from the International Court of Justice orders Israel to halt its offensive in Rafah. Despite this, Israel has sent another brigade to Rafah. Now, the total number of Israeli brigades in the area are 6. There have been tensions over the Rafah crossing with Egypt. 2 Egyptian soldiers have been killed in an exchange of fire with Israeli troops. The death toll from Israel's war continues to mount. At the time of writing, at least 36,096 Palestinians have been killed. A revised report by the United Nations estimates another 10,000 civilians are buried under the rubble. 81,000 Palestinians have been injured. The International Court of Justice has accused Israel of genocide and mandated the provision of humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Survivors of a refugee camp in Rafah are recounting a devastating Israeli bombing. The attack has left 45 civilians dead and many injured. The attack occurred around 10 p.m. local time. Israeli strikes targeted makeshift tents where families have been taking refuge. Witnesses describe scenes of horror with charred bodies and severed limbs. A disturbing image of the aftermath includes a father carrying his headless child. The image has been circulating on social media. A Palestinian teen recounts the bombing came in suddenly and without a warning. Muhammad Abu Sibah, an eyewitness, says the refugees had been told the area was a safe zone. Sibah has already lost a home, 2 sons, a daughter, and a 2-year-old infant in November. He had been living in the refugee camp. Palestinian health officials express overwhelming challenges in treating the injured due to the destruction of Gaza's health system. International condemnation has poured in. Arab states and European leaders are urging an immediate halt to the attacks. Over 20,000 Palestinian patients are awaiting treatment as Israel continues to block the Rafah crossing bordering Egypt. These patients have been displaced and face dire conditions. Palestinian Health Ministry reports that these patients, including the ones with cancer and heart diseases. The ministry says the blockade is a violation of international law and is urging intervention. Hundreds of Palestinian doctors, including prominent figures like Khaled al-Sir, have disappeared into Israeli detention. Al-Sir is a dedicated surgeon. He was serving hundreds of injured Palestinians at Nasser Hospital. U.S. news website The Intercept reports Israeli forces have detained at least 214 medical staff. It alleges torture and mistreatment. The death of Surgeon Adnan al-Bursh in custody has raised international concern. Al-Bursh was taken into custody in December. He died in Ofer prison in April. The prison is an Israeli detention facility in the occupied West Bank. There are calls for independent investigations. At least 493 medical workers have been killed in Gaza since October 7th. All of them are Palestinians. Survivors like Surgeon Khalid Hamouda recount harrowing experiences of being detained, beaten, and interrogated. Hamouda says healthcare workers are deliberately targeted by Israel. The Biden administration has reacted strongly to the International Criminal Court's pursuit of arrest warrants for Israeli officials. President Biden condemns the move as outrageous. Secretary of State Blinken has hinted at potential sanctions against the members of the top court. Pro-Israeli politicians are asking the U.S. president to use a 2-decade-old law to protect allies from the court. The American Service Members Protection Act, dubbed the Hague Invasion Act, was enacted in 2002 under President Bush. It empowers the U.S. president to use all means necessary to free U.S. military members and allied personnel from the court's custody. 12 senators have written a letter to the top court. The letter says the arrest of the Israeli leadership will be interpreted as a threat to Israel's as well as the U.S.'s sovereignty. The act severely limits U.S. cooperation with the court and influences its peacekeeping missions. The law embodies U.S. skepticism of the court's jurisdiction. Ireland has officially recognized Palestine as a state and established full diplomatic relations. Following the decision, the Palestinian flag flew today alongside the European Union and Ukrainian flags outside Leinster House in Dublin. The recognition decision was announced by the Irish Foreign Minister Michael Martin on social media platform X. If a formal request is made by the Palestinian authorities, the Palestinian mission in Ireland will be upgraded into an embassy. An ambassador from the state of Palestine will be appointed to Ireland. Ireland will also upgrade its current representative office in Ramallah to an embassy. In recent days, Martin has engaged in discussions with Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa and consulted with European and Arab partners regarding the Arab peace vision. He describes the move as a meaningful path toward achieving lasting peace. A recently discovered vulnerability in WhatsApp's encryption allows governments to monitor the communication patterns of its users. It potentially compromises privacy and safety of the users. US-based news website The Intercept reports engineers warn that governments can exploit the vulnerability to identify users and their interactions. The vulnerability is based on traffic analysis, a decades-old network monitoring technique. It relies on serving internet traffic at a massive national scale. Concerns have been raised regarding Israel's potential use of this tactic for targeting individuals in Gaza. Efforts within Meta to address the issue have faced challenges. Employees have been demanding transparency and actions. WhatsApp's security team acknowledges the severity of the problem. However, it says it faces obstacles in implementing effective solutions without compromising user experience. The assessment reveals WhatsApp has been aware of this threat since last year. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not-for-profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now, so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.